Baseball 92 continues from Pittsburgh, where the Pirates are in search of their third consecutive title in the National League East. And since 1969, only 2 National League teams have won 3 consecutive division titles. The Pirates did it in 1970 through 1972, and the Phillies of 76, 77, and 78 won 3 titles in a row. So, Tim, the Pirates are trying to accomplish something that is a difficult task indeed.
Well, it always has been, and they may not be running out of time, but they may be running out of players. I mean, after all, Barry Bonds could be lost and probably will to free agency at the end of this year. Doug Drabek, today's starting pitcher, probably will be lost or could be lost to free agency next year. And yesterday we talked to Jim Leland about the urgency of winning his 3rd consecutive division title.
I think we're fighting hard to get back there. Sure, we'd like another shot at it. It's very rare that you get 2 shots in a row, let alone 3. So I think the players have in the back of their mind they'd like to get another shot. I think one thing realistically, too, Tim, that happens here is we don't know what our economics are going to be and if we're going to be able to retain the players to get back in the real near future. So I think some of the guys down deep inside, they don't want to talk about it, but I think there's a sense that, hey, this may really be our last shot for a while.
And it could well be the last season in a Pirate uniform for Doug Drabek. He's starting today for Pittsburgh. The 30-year-old right-hander has a record of 8-8, and he's opposed by 25-year-old righty Omar Olivares. His record also 500 at 6-6. We'll have the starting lineup in the first pitch of today's game in just a moment.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. The First Brands Corporation, makers of STP's Son of a Gun Protectant. And by Kawasaki. Kawasaki, let the good times roll.
Hi, this is Rex. They call me the Hurricane Huddler. Proud to bring you the lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals this afternoon. Batting first, the University City hitman, Bernard Gilkey. And batting second, the Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Smith. Batting third, a future MVP and great player, Ray Langford, is our center fielder. Batting fourth is our right fielder, Felix Jose, who's got an awesome stroke from the left side. Batting fifth is Andres Galarraga, who's very hot right now. And batting sixth, we have Todd Zeal. Most of you might know his more famous wife, Julianne McNamara Zeal. And batting seventh is Luis Alicea, who's been helping us a lot at second base. Batting eighth is our Gold Glove catcher and the best catcher in the game today, Tom Pagnazzi. And batting ninth is our hot, swinging, good pitcher, Omar Olivares. Thank you. Take it away, Sean.
And thank you very much, Rex Hudler. That is the lineup for the Cardinals this afternoon against Doug Drabek. And Tim, his least impressive number is really that one-loss mark of 8-8. All the other numbers indicate he should have a better record.
His walks per 9 innings, runners per 9 innings, and strikeouts per 9 innings are all career highs. And consider the fact that he won the Cy Young Award 2 years ago. Defensively for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Barry Bonds in left field, Andy Van Slyke in center, Alex Cole, a recent acquisition from the Cleveland Indians, in right field. Jeff King is back up from the minors playing third, Jay Bell at shortstop, Jose Lind, the steady double play combination of Bell and Lind, Orlando Merced at first base, and Mike LaValliere behind the plate, and of course Doug Drabek on the mound.
And Bernard Gilkey will get us started. He's the left fielder. At .302, a homer and 22 knocked in. Pirates trying to make it 3 in a row over St. Louis, and the first pitch of the ball game is lifted toward the gap in right center, and it's in for extra bases. Gilkey on his way to second as Van Slyke gets it back in. It's a leadoff double on the first pitch of the ball game for Bernard Gilkey.
Doug Drabek trying to establish himself in the strike zone, throwing a fastball right down the pipe. And Gilkey first ball hitting with a leadoff double. St. Louis Cardinals have not scored an earned run against Pittsburgh pitching for 38 straight innings. They have really struggled. It's hard to believe they're leading the National League in hitting.
They are 260 as a team. You saw Ozzie Smith with his 300 average. He's moved into the top 10 in the National League in hitting with the 300 mark. He is 10th. The Cardinals did manage 2 runs last night off the rookie Tim Wakefield in his Major League debut, but they were unearned runs as a result of an error by Jeff King. Again, Smith bunts. Draybeck bobbled it momentarily. Safe at first is Ozzie Smith. A bang-bang play. The Wizard called safe, and that'll bring an argument from Jim Leland to first base umpire Charlie Williams.
Doug Draybeck tried to backhand the bunt, and the ball hit the heel of the glove, bouncing out. He recovered in time. Watch it hit the heel of the glove. It bounces out. He recovers in time. And the play to first base, it appeared to have him, but I think first base umpire Charlie Williams said that Merced was off the bag. It looked like the throw beat him, however.
It's a sacrifice for Ozzie. He is not charged with an official time at bat. And an error charge to Draybeck, allowing Smith to reach. 2 men on with nobody out in the first for Ray Lankford. .297 is his average. 11 homers, 43 runs driven in. Swing and a miss on the first pitch to Lankford. Interesting to hear Rex Hudler call Ray Lankford a future MVP. That is not a unique opinion. It is shared by many of Lankford's Cardinal teammates. They think he is a tremendous talent.
If he could carry his Julys into every month of his career, he would be an MVP. 337 this month. That's a career high.
We've already mentioned Charlie Williams is working first base. Jerry Crawford is the home plate umpire. Jerry Davis at second. And the veteran Doug Harvey, the crew chief, retiring at the end of this season at age 62, who's working third. Smith running with the pitch. It's a ball low and inside, and no chance for LaValliere to throw out Ozzie Smith. At age 37, Ozzie continues among the league leaders in stolen bases. That is his 26th of the year, and it ties him with Bip Roberts of the Reds and Ron Gant of the Braves for 6th in the National League in stolen bases. So 2 men in scoring position, and Joe Torre says this has been the biggest problem for the Cardinals during their slump. The hitters tense up with men in scoring position. No problem there. It went through the first baseman Merced. 2-run score. The throw behind Lankford, and he's out at first. And only 1 run scored. Ozzie Smith did not score from second on that play, even though the ball was cut off at first. He was most of the way around third. Now Joe Torre is going to argue with Charlie Williams, who's had a busy first inning.
We've had 1 out here in the first inning, and Charlie Williams has had arguments with both managers. But even though Joe is arguing with Charlie, he'd prefer to be arguing with Ray Lankford right now. That's a terrible play by Lankford with nobody out, rounding the bag too far, because there's always the possibility of the throw behind him. And that's what happened here. He may have gotten the top hand in. Watch the glove come down and the top hand reaching over the glove of Merced. He appeared to be safe, but that play shouldn't be that close. When you round the bag too far on a base hit to right field, and that is a mistake. Ray's saying he wasn't out, and that's probably true, but it was a bad base running play all the same.
And the Cardinals only got the 1 man in from third. Ozzie Smith is at third. He advanced 1 base. The infield in for the Pirates in the first inning. 1-0 St. Louis. Smith at third with 1 out. And the batter is the cleanup hitter Felix Jose, a switch hitter batting .300 for the year with 8 homers and 45 knocked in. Check swing at the fastball. It's a strike.
Let's take one more look at the play. Now Lankford rounds the bag. He would have been an out had Merced immediately tagged him, but it looked like in diving back that Merced's tag was on the ground and Lankford's right hand got over the tag.
A single and an RBI for Lankford to play 9-3 on him at first base. Alex Cole with the assist. The 0-2 pitch wasted outside. 1-2 on Jose, who's a much better hitter from the right side of the plate. He's hitting just .246 this year left-handed as compared to .396 from the right. Chop foul down to Dave Collins, who seems to have settled down after his moment's agitation with Charlie Williams at first. They expect about 25 to 30,000 here in Pittsburgh on a beautiful afternoon. The 1st of August. It could be the 1st of October. If you judged by the weather, it's in the low to mid 70s with very little humidity. In on the hands and fouled away third base side. Still 1-2 on Felix Jose. Drabek, a big winner in his major league career, but not against the Cardinals. He's 6-9. Lifetime against St. Louis. That is his worst record against any National League club.
5 of those 6 wins, however, shutouts.
The 1-2, way outside and high. Felix Jose returned to the lineup last night. He sat out 4 of the previous 5 games with a sore lower back. The Cardinals leading RBI man trying to bring in another from third. And he's barely alive. That fastball was just off the outside corner. From 0-2 to 3-2 for Felix Jose. Breaking ball, pulled foul. Jose looked fooled on that pitch, but managed to get a piece of it to stay alive at 3-2. Ozzie Smith, the runner at third with 1 out and 1 run in for the Cardinals here in the top of the first. Another defensive swing by Jose, still 3-2.
Good hitters have defensive swings with 2 strikes on them. You saw him foul off the breaking ball that he pulled. He was out in front of that one. And Drabek came back with the fastball, and he was behind that one. You don't have the same swings with 2 strikes on you that you do with the count 2-0, 1-0, 3-1.
Jose battling Drabek with 1 out in the first. The infield still in. It's interesting to hear Joe Torre talk about his team's difficulty in these situations. It's a young team, and they have been collectively pressing with runners in scoring position. That's the reason why the Cardinals lead the league in hitting, as Tim mentioned, but they're 11th in runs scored. Only the Cubs have scored fewer runs. Strike 3. Drabek went to an off-speed pitch, and Jose called out on a pitch on the outside part of the plate.
Well, that's Drabek's sport, his ability to get any pitch over on any count. And he goes back to the changeup here over the outside corner. So think about that. With the count 3-2 to Jose, he threw the curveball, fastball, took something off the fastball, and painted at that, painting the outside corner.
Rex Hudler mentioned during the starting lineup, Andres Galarraga is hot. He's hit 9 of his last 10. And he's 7 for 18 over the last 5 games. That's a .389 average, but this has been a bugaboo for Galarraga. All year, he has not had a hit in this situation this season. He's up with a man in scoring position and 2 outs. He took a breaking ball for ball 2, 2-0.
Been a tough year for Andres. He broke his wrist in the 2nd game of the season, hit by a pitch when the Cardinals opened against the Mets, and he did not return to active duty until May 22nd.
Very high in shallow left. Jay Bell out, Barry Bonds in. It's Bonds making the catch. Galarraga now 0 for 20 this year with 2 out and men in scoring position, and that's been the story of the Cardinals season of late. Wasted opportunity with men in scoring position. They get only 1, and after half an inning, it's St. Louis 1 and the Pirates coming up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to 3 River Stadium. This is Andy Van Slyke, and I've been honored to give you the starting lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Leading off and playing right field will be Alex. We'll leave you in the dust. Cole batting second. Playing shortstop will be Jay, preteen idol Bell. Batting third will be Andy Van Mee. And batting fourth, playing left field, will be Barry, simply the best, Bonds. Batting fifth and playing first base will be Orlando. I want to be like Roberto Clemente, Merced. Batting sixth, playing third base will be Jeff, I'd rather be fishing, King. And batting seventh will be our catcher, Mike, I'd rather be eating, Lavalier. And batting eighth, playing second base, will be Chico Jose, can leap over anybody, any human being, lean. And batting ninth and pitching will be Doug Cybeck Drebeck.
That is the lineup the Pirates send up against Omar Olivares, who's ready to go, working with a 1-0 lead. His first pitch of the afternoon, a strike to Alex Cole. Alex playing in his 20th game for the Pirates, and he has made an immediate impact, hitting .284. He has knocked in 5 runs. 1-1 the count. Omar Olivares, the 25-year-old right-hander on the mound.
Joe Torre talks about his power sinker, and he can throw that pitch at any time, and that was it right there. To distinguish Olivares from Drebeck, Drebeck more of an off-speed pitcher, and Olivares with that hard, heavy sinker of his. Matter of fact, he was picked up by the Cardinals from the Padres in the Alex Cole deal. Alex Cole went to San Diego.
Alex Cole with a perfect bunt and a base hit.
Alex Cole lays down this bunt down the third baseline, and he has it cold. I mean, no play on a guy who was attired today like something out of Terminator 2. Alex with those glasses and that helmet, wristbands.
Pirates needed somebody like Alex Cole. They've used 7 different hitters in the leadoff spot of the batting order. Now Cole has settled in. Jay Bell, the hitter. He turns to bunt. No big surprise there. Bell looked at ball 1. Jay has sacrificed 10 times this year. He has led the major leagues in sacrifices each of the last 2 seasons. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, he had 39 sacrifices.
And 19 in the first inning. So it's not unusual to have Jim Leyland have Bell bunt in this situation. There are a lot of things you can do. The count's now in Bell's favor, so I think in order to use Cole's speed that Jim Leyland may allow Cole to steal the base.
Bell does get the bunt down. Olivares has to go to first, to the second baseman covering. Cole in scoring position with 1 out, representing the tying run. Jay Bell now alone in second place in the National League in sacrifice bunts with 11. Brett Butler of the Dodgers leads with 14.
I think the reason that Bell hasn't been bunting this year in the first inning is the leadoff men of the Pirates haven't been getting on that much. They have had and used 7 different batters in that leadoff spot.
And they've hit a combined .228. Andy Van Slyke looks at a ball. Andy, second in the league in hitting at .336. And best in the league with men in scoring position at .391. He's in a battle for the batting title in the National League. He's only 2 points behind John Kruk of the Philadelphia Phillies. And earlier this week, for 1 day, Van Slyke moved ahead of Kruk. That was on Tuesday that Andy moved into first place in the National League in hitting.
Van Slyke, a tough hitter for Olivares. Olivares, to be effective, has to keep it down, and Van Slyke, a good low ball hitter.
1-0 St. Louis. So the Pirates are threatening in their half of the first. 2-1 the count on Andy Van Slyke.
Most low ball hitters are sweep hitters, and you can tell by the way Van Slyke swings that bat. See how that, it's almost like he likes the ball in that low area, and he certainly does. You can't toy with him in that area.
That's the sweeping motion that he is practicing. 3-1 on Andy. He'll be followed by Barry Bonds. Foul. Past Tommy Sant in the first base coach's box. There's Bonds on deck. Two pitch, fouled out of play. Attendance here in Pittsburgh has been a little bit better since Jim Leland sounded off on that subject about a month ago. The Pirates are averaging just over 21,000 fans per home date. Another 3-2 pitch. Is low and inside, ball 4. And Pittsburgh has runners at first and second with one out in the bottom of the first. And Andy Van Slyke hands the bat to his son, A.J., who is serving as the Pirate bat boy today.
Andy, number 18. And if you happen to watch our All-Star telecast, you found out that A.J. Van Slyke's favorite number 18 was Darryl Strawberry of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And then his dad. Talking to Andy yesterday, he said, you know, dads aren't special. They're just your dad. Right?
Barry Bonds, the batter. Out of play and left. Bonds just below the 300 mark at 299. He is second in the league with 20 homers. Only one behind Fred McGriff of San Diego. Hasn't been a big home run year in the National League. Just outside, the ball and a strike on Bonds.
You'd have to assume that Barry would have been way out in front had he not missed 3.5 weeks due to that pulled rib cage muscle. Back off the DL right before the All-Star break.
Barry hit his 20th home run of the season last night, a 2-run homer off Jose De Leon. And like Van Slyke, he has excelled with men in scoring position. He's up there with Alex Cole at second, Andy Van Slyke at first. One out, bottom of the first, 1-0 Cardinals. And 2-2, the count on Bonds. He will be followed by Orlando Merced. Jim mentioned the power sinker from Omar Olivares. Joe Torre says when he's effective, he'll throw it about 85% of the time. That one is just low. The count is full again.
Good speed on the bases. I would think Jim Leland would allow Cole and Van Slyke to be running. Bonds is not an anxious hitter with the count 3-2. If it's a ball, he rarely swings at it out of the strike zone.
He's walked 66 times, and that's the second highest walk total in the league. The runners do go, and that's off the end of the bat and out of play. One other reason, in addition to the patience of Barry Bonds for the walks, is that the Pirates haven't really had the number 5 hitter that you would fear behind him. Orlando Merced, you saw, was on deck, and he has struggled with the bat this season. The runners take off again. Bonds sends it back in our direction. Making Olivares work on this beautiful day in the bottom of the first. Andy Van Slyke walked on a 3-2 pitch. Now Bonds has fouled away a couple of 3-2 offerings. Again, the runners moved, and again, Bonds sent it out of play. Rich Donnelly is the third base coach for Pittsburgh. He took over this year for Gene Lamont, who left the Pirates after 6 years on Jim Leland's staff to become the manager of the White Sox. And we mentioned earlier, Tommy Sant is the first base coach for Pittsburgh. and Van Slyke getting a workout. They run for the 4th time, and it's ball 4, low and away. That loads them up with 1 out. Back-to-back walks issued by Olivares. And here is Orlando Merced. A switch hitter batting .238 for the year. He's been much more effective left-handed. And he's seen many more plate appearances from the left side. He's hitting .263 from the left, only .143 from the right. He waits as pitching coach Joe Coleman has gone to the mound.
There is certainly no advantage for the bases to be loaded with a guy like Olivares. But with less than 2 outs, the one advantage he does have is he can throw the ground ball. He's got that sinker. A lot of hitters have a tendency to hit down on the ball. They hit the top half of the ball, driving it into the ground, and the Cardinals hoping it's at somebody.
He tried to check his swing at the fastball from Olivares and could not. 1 strike on Merced. Bases loaded with 1 out. Olivares trying to protect a 1-0 St. Louis lead in the first. To left field and deep enough to get the run in. Cole tags and comes to the plate as the throw from Gilkey went to third. We're tied at 1. Runners at first and second now with 2 outs. The RBI from Merced is 36th of the year. And Alex Cole has now scored a run in 13 of the 16 games he has started for the Pirates. Again, doing what a leadoff hitter is expected to do, and what the Pirates have been lacking in that spot in the batting order this year. What a rally for the Pirates here in the first. A bunt single, a sacrifice bunt, then 2 walks and a sacrifice fly. Jeff King, the 6th hitter of the inning at 2:03. A pop-up. Galarraga ends the inning. Each team scores 1 in the first. 1-1 after 1.
Please report to the guest relations. You're watching CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball. Number 27,
Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver, our producer Rick Lasavita, our director Joe Assetti. Delighted to have you with us on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in Pittsburgh. The Pirates and Cardinals tied at 1 after 1. And the batter is Todd Zeile, the third baseman, hitting .257. Takes an off-speed pitch for a strike from Doug Drabek. Despite the error in the first committed by Drabek, it was an earned run charged to him, the first earned run scored by the Cardinals in 39 innings plus against the Pirates. One and 2 on Zeile. He'll be followed by Luis Alicea and Tom Pagnozzi, batters 6, 7, and 8 in the St. Louis batting order. Jose leaned in shallow center, makes the catch. 1 out.
Are the pennant races ever heating up? Cincinnati, half a game in front of the Atlanta Braves in the National League West. Pittsburgh, 1 game ahead of Montreal. Toronto, 4.5 ahead of Baltimore, and Minnesota only a half game ahead of Oakland.
You add up all the games between the first place teams and second place teams, it equals 6.5, and that matches the closest divisional races ever on August 1st. Lean has to hurry, couldn't make the bare hand play. It was do or die, and even if he had been able to grab it with the bare hand, Alicea in all likelihood would have been safe. He runs pretty well.
Lean did all he could. He tried to barehand it. He did barehand it, and then in trying to throw it, he didn't have the glove to manipulate it in those first two fingers to throw it properly. So an infield hit for Luis Alicea.
He does not have a stolen base this year. Tom Pagnozzi at 276 with 6 homers and 34 runs driven in. Drabek steps off. Pagnozzi had 6 home runs for his career entering 1992, and he has matched that total with 6 this season.
Scatters the ball around. He and Todd Zeal, Felix Jose, Ozzie Smith, Bernard Gilkey all hit about the same. They use all parts of the field in which to hit, and that was very close at first. Doug Drabek has 3 pickoffs this year. That is the most by any right-hander in the National League, and he was close to getting his 4th right there.
Mentioned Alicea does not have a stolen base. He's been thrown out in his only try. They pitch out. This is, as usual, a running St. Louis ball club. They've stolen 128 bases collectively, and that is the 2nd highest total in the National League, trailing only Montreal. But they've also been thrown out as a team 74 times trying to steal, and the next highest caught stealing total for any team in the league is 43.
We talked about Pagnozzi scattering the ball around. Let's take a look at where he hits it. Almost the same amount of balls hit to right as to left field and to center field, so he is a real straightaway hitter, but his power comes when he pulls the ball.
A double play ball. Bell turns it with ease. Lean, Bell, and Merced 4-6-3, and that ends the inning. After an inning and a half in Pittsburgh, the Cardinals won and the Pirates won. With their win last night, the Pirates have won back-to-back games for the first time since prior to the All-Star break. They're trying to make it 3 in a row over the Cardinals, batting in the second in a 1-1 ball game. Mike LaValliere took a strike. Some in this area might be surprised that LaValliere is still wearing a Pirate uniform on August 1st. His name had been mentioned in trade rumors leading up to last night's deadline, but he's still here. And he dumps a base hit into left center. Yesterday, the Boston newspapers had reports of a possible trade between the Pirates and Red Sox that would have sent Jeff Reardon to the Pirates for Mike LaValliere.
Seems like every organization with which LaValliere has signed or been traded to have tried to get rid of LaValliere. He has done a bang-up job for the Pirates. The Philadelphia Phillies back in the early 80s wanted to make a minor league manager out of it.
He's now hit in 6 straight games. He's at first. And 1 strike the count on the second baseman, Jose Lean. Lean is glad that the month of July is over, and those numbers tell you why. Lined and caught. Alicea thought about throwing the first, trying to double up LaValliere, but he wasn't very far from the first base bag. 1 out in the second. 1-1 the score.
Even though he wasn't very far from the first base bag, it was good base running on LaValliere's part, because on low line drives, if you're the runner at first with less than 2 outs, you're thinking about taking the shortstop or the second baseman out of the play. So that means you're leaning a little bit more towards second base, but LaValliere holding his ground and got back to first in time.
Doug Drabek squares the bunt and takes the ball low.
Right there. He recovers in time. That ball on those low liners, you don't know whether it's going to be a short hop or whether he's going to catch it in the air. Good base running by LaValliere. There are advantages to not being fast.
And that was one of them. LaValliere's running. And they had the hit and run on. Drabek threw the bat at the ball to get a piece of it and fouled it off. It's not the first time this has happened this year. LaValliere has attempted one stolen base. My guess is that it was also part of a hit and run that failed, and he was thrown out.
Looked like a foul tip. It bounced up and hit Tom Pagnozzi, the catcher, on the hand. So some of the sting was taken off of the pitch. A lot of managers say if a catcher gets hit on the right hand, send the runner on the next pitch. It's not really bad policy.
Olivares misses low, 2-1 on Drabek. You saw that he's hitting just 148 for the year, but he is 4 for his last 11. Calculated gamble by Jim Leland. Drabek's opposite number, Olivares, is a very fine hitting pitcher and an excellent fielder. He helps himself in these situations, coming off the mound to field bunts. Drabek pulls it foul on the 2-1 pitch. He had the green light, and now it's 2-2.
Not only is Omar Olivares an excellent fielder, but his team is an excellent fielding team behind him. The Cardinals have made one error behind Olivares this year. One. That means not a lot of earned runs, right? Or not a lot of unearned runs. And that's right, not a one. He has given up 50 runs this year. All of them have been earned.
Drabek strikes out. Couldn't get to the pitch, low and away. It's the second out of the inning and the first strikeout of the afternoon for Omar Olivares.
And since records are fun in baseball, we will tell you who gave up the most earned runs in a season without giving up an unearned run. It was Dick Ruthven for the Atlanta Braves back in 1976. He gave up 112 runs, all of them earned.
Oh, the guy like McCarver catching. Were you part of that team?
That was the Braves. Ruthven was traded 2 years later. 2 years later to the Phillies for Gene Garber.
Alex Cole, the batter. Fastball for a strike. Cole started the Pittsburgh first with a bunt single, and he scored the Pirate run. We're tied at 1 in the bottom of the second. Outside, a ball and a strike. We started to mention the first time Cole was up that these two were once traded for each other, Omar Olivares and Alex Cole. Swung on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Olivares started in the San Diego organization, was acquired by St. Louis in a trade for Cole and pitcher Steve Peters in February of 1990. And LaValliere, running again, is thrown out by Pagnozzi to end the inning.
That's the disadvantage to being slow.
Spanky caught for the second time this year. He's still in search of that elusive first stolen base, and we'll be back in just a moment. It's a 1-1 game after 2 innings here in Pittsburgh. Batters 9, 1, and 2 coming up for the Cardinals in the third against Doug Drabek. And the pitcher Omar Olivares leads off. I mentioned last inning, Olivares is an excellent hitter. He's at 262 this year. And among National League starting pitchers, only Dwight Gooden and Ken Hill of the Mets and Expos respectively have hit for a higher batting average.
Tommy Glavine leads the National League with hits by a pitcher. He has 15. Gooden with 12. Fernandez, Hill, and Olivares with 11.
Matter of fact, Olivares is such a fine all-around athlete that at one time Whitey Herzog was considering converting him into an outfielder. And then we jinxed him. He strikes out on the breaking ball, low and away. 1 out in the third. That's the second strikeout today for Doug Drabek. At the conclusion of today's game, Tim McCarver and I will select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's name to the Special Olympics. Top of the order, and Bernard Gilkey, who started the ball game by taking Doug Drabeck's first pitch into the gap in right center for a double, and he scored on the base hit by Ray Langton. And the Cardinals have to feel that they should have had at least one more run in that first inning. 1-0 on Gilkey. Ozzie Smith on deck. Looked like Jerry Crawford thought about calling that one a strike and then changed his mind. 2-0. Fastball for a strike. Gilkey getting more of a chance to play now that Brian Jordan has been sent down to the minors. Trying to get himself back on track after making the decision to concentrate on baseball exclusively and give up his football career. Jeff King throws Gilkey out. 2 down in the third, 1-1 the score.
And if you happen to miss the beginning of the game, Deion Sanders of the Atlanta Braves has decided that he will play for the Atlanta Braves, turning down a $1 million reporting bonus just to report to camp. And what an incentive. That's it. All you have to do is walk in for $1 million.
But knowing how most football players feel about training camp with all that equipment on, the two-a-day drills at this time of the year, I think a lot of them might have turned down the $1 million. That's why I wasn't too surprised that Deion is going to stay with baseball at least for a while, because I haven't talked to a football player yet who says, I enjoy those two-a-day drills in the 95-degree heat and humidity.
Usually you hear that day-to-day referring to injuries in baseball, but day-to-day refers to Deion Sanders in Atlanta and whether he will be with the Braves come September.
Bonds the catch. Smith is out. It's an interesting concept. Deion could say, I'm not in the lineup today? Okay, see you later.
Yeah.
1-1 the score as we head to the bottom of the third, and we'll return to Three River Stadium after this message and a word from your local station.
Managers talking about pitchers throwing strikes. Well, Joe Torre has a different theory on his pitchers throwing strikes.
We went through a run last week of about 4 games in a row where we never got to the 5th inning because we get strike 1, strike 2, and we couldn't get strike 3 because we're in the strike zone too much. And I remember Tom Seaver talking about pitching around the strike zone. And, you know, from my experience playing, when pitchers got you out after 2 strikes, they were always making you reach for a ball that wasn't hittable.
And now the count is 1-2, Tim, and based on what Joe just said, undoubtedly he preferred that Omar Olivares not be too close to the strike zone with this pitch to Alex Cole. And he wasn't.
He almost hit him. Well, Joe said they had a meeting the other day about that. Don Drysdale, the great Dodger pitcher, used to talk about being wild in the strike zone. There are really 2 forms of wildness, out of it and in it.
And Olivares strikes out Alex Cole for the first out of the third. We're in a 1-1 game, and that is the second strikeout of the afternoon for Omar Olivares.
Too many young pitchers, when they get a count of 0-2 or 1-2, pitch a hitter like it's 2 balls and no strikes or 2 balls and 1 strike instead of the other way around. You have 4 chances to get him out. And usually making him reach for the ball is the best way to use that advantage.
Jay Bell chopped it to short. Ozzie Smith throws him out. Quickly 2 down in the Pirate third. 1-1 the score. Each team scored in the first inning.
Center fielder,
Olivares has retired 4 in a row, his best streak of the ball game. And the batter is Andy Van Slyke, who walked in the first inning. Strike on Van Slyke. Andy's home run numbers down this year. He's hit only 7. That's the result of a bad back that has been bothering him since spring training. He says he's had to cut down on his swing. The result has been a most impressive performance in terms of batting average. As we mentioned, he's second in the league, 336.
I know it sounds strange, but a lot of times when hitters have something wrong with the torso, they don't try to do too much with the bat because they realize if they swing too hard, then it's going to hurt. So therefore, they have a more controlled swing. It takes something away from your power numbers, but adds to your batting average. Of course, that doesn't mean that you should go out and get pummeled by someone to have a sore torso, so your average goes up. That does not make sense, no.
As far as we know, that's not what Van Slyke did.
No, it's not.
3-1 pitch. Sinking fast and right, it falls in front of Felix Jose, a base hit. That's the third hit for Pittsburgh, and the hits are even at 3 apiece. Van Slyke was 1 for his last 15 prior to that base hit. He's having an MVP-type season, as Barry Bonds did 2 years ago. Van Slyke second in the league in batting average, 9th in runs batted in, 1st in multiple hit games, 1st in hits, 3rd in total bases, 2nd in doubles, 4th in triples, 5th in slugging percentage, 4th in on-base percentage, 3rd in extra base hits. That certainly is the groundwork of an MVP campaign. Bonds up the middle, base hit past the dive of Ozzie Smith. It was hit sharply. Langford charged it quickly, stopping Van Slyke at second.
The one thing that Jim Leland talks about is surrounding his 2 big hitters, Van Slyke and Barry Bonds, with power. Merced with a sacrifice fly his first time up, but the Cardinals love to see Van Slyke and Bonds come up with 2 outs, especially with no runners on. That's the way you work the lineup. And fortunately, if the Cardinals can get out of this inning without Van Slyke or Bonds scoring, it will be a favorable inning for the Cardinals because they will have cleared Van Slyke and Bonds.
Merced chopped it foul.
Pagnozzi with a foul tip to his hand earlier, and now a foul tip to the left arm. That's one of the big reasons that catchers don't hit for a high average. Usually your arms are so beat up by August and September, you can't get on top of too many balls.
Merced drove in the run in the first with a sacrifice fly to left. Olivares has allowed 4 hits now, all of them singles. He's working in a 1-1 game in the bottom of the 3rd. Low and inside, Merced checked his swing, and Doug Harvey concurs with that judgment of home plate umpire Jerry Crawford. Yankees trying to bounce back from that drubbing last night at Toronto. Boston, Baltimore split 2 last night, and Oakland lost to Kansas City in the 10th last night. Base hit right field. Jose is a fine arm. Van Slyke's going to try it. The throw is not in time. The Pirates lead 2-1. Today for Orlando Merced. He's knocked in 37 this year.
Second RBI for Merced on the afternoon as Van Slyke slides in ahead of the tag. Actually, no play on Andy as Pagnozzi had to leave his position to prevent the runners from advancing. 3 straight singles with 2 outs here in the 3rd inning.
And they couldn't get through that part of the batting order unscathed. Jeff King, the batter. He was out on the pop-up to the first baseman Galarraga his first time up.
All of the hits that the Pirates have in this inning are on low fastballs. Actually, balls out of the strike zone.
That's out of the strike zone. 2-0 on King. The runner at second. Merced at first. Off the end of the bat and caught. Nice leaping play by Luis Alicea to end the inning. 1 run on 3 hits off Olivares with 2 outs. And the Pirates lead for the first time. It's 2-1.
We talked about how all of the 2-out base hits were in the area that's down in the strike zone. Look at all of the base hits by Van Slyke. Bang. Barry Bonds. Bang. Down in the strike zone. And now Orlando Merced down in the strike zone. So John Madden would like that. Bang, 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 right? Bam, bam, bam. That's a bam, bam, bam baseball Madden style.
Somewhere John's probably saying bang, boom right now as football season approaches.
Of course.
He's getting ready. There's a change for the Pirates as we go to the fourth. Pittsburgh leading 2-1. Don Slott has come on to catch for Mike LaValliere. Slott caught last night, even though the Cardinals started right-hander Jose De Leon. That was because the knuckleballer Tim Wakefield was making his debut for Pittsburgh, and Slott had some experience catching Wakefield earlier in the year when he was on a rehab assignment at AAA Buffalo. What a great night that was for the Pirates last night, getting the complete game victory without allowing an earned run from Tim Wakefield. He struck out 10 in his major league debut. His status was uncertain when he arrived at the ballpark last night. Seems safe to say he'll be around for a while now after that performance last evening. Ray Lankford, the batter. He drove in the Cardinal run with a single to right field in the first, but then was out on a poor base running play. He rounded the first base bag a bit too wide and was thrown out by the right fielder Alex Cole.
Key play in this game so far.
Up the middle, Lean was playing the pull and couldn't get it. And if he couldn't get it, it was the second baseman in the National League who could. So Lankford is 2 for 2. That is the fourth St. Louis hit. And he is very much a threat to run. 31 steals for Lankford. That's third in the league, behind Marquise Grissom and Delino DeShields. Good news for the Expos. Grissom with a hairline fracture of his wrist, but he might be back in action, we are told, tomorrow.
That's what the newspapers have said. Of course, the out-of-town newspapers here in Pittsburgh, because the Pittsburgh Press and Post-Gazette have been on strike for about 2 months.
Felix Jose, the batter, he was called out on strikes his first time up.
Hard to believe, though, that Grissom has a hairline fracture and he'll miss only 2 days or 2 games. Sounds like a misdiagnosis to me. I mean, usually if you have a hairline fracture, and hands are the most vital thing with which to swing the bat, and there is no way to effectively swing the bat if you have a hairline fracture. You might be able to, obviously you'll be able to run, you could be able to throw, but the hands and the wrists so vital in swinging the bats.
Late swing, 1 and 2 on Felix Jose. Well, that's very good news for Montreal as you look at Bucky Dent, the Cardinal third base coach. Right in the thick of it, only 1 game behind Pittsburgh. Grissom is a vital weapon in their lineup.
Hands to a baseball player like feet to a soccer player. Merced pushing Lankford there at first base. Now, I'm sure they did it playfully, but what if Lankford comes off the bag and Merced makes the tag? What's this?
Well, we saw in the World Series last year you can do that.
Yeah, right.
Get away with it.
Ken Herbeck and Ron Gant in Game 2.
Strike 3. Jose checked his swing, it appeared, but he's called out by Jerry Crawford. He's called out on strikes for the second time today, and that's the third strikeout of the ball game for Doug Drabek. 1 out of the fourth. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Andres Galarraga ended the first with a runner at third and 2 outs by flying to Barry Bonds in shallow left. Very close play at first, and Lankford is back safely.
Drabek Draybeck with an excellent move to first base. The throw is right there, and had Merced held on, Langford could have been out. Remember, we talked about Draybeck with 3 pickoff moves, the most by a right-hander in the National League this year. He is very, very quick. And for a right-hander to have a good move to first, you have to have quick feet. And he does.
Langford runs. Slots throw into center field. Langford doesn't realize it. And Slight quickly on it. Well, Langford remains at second with the stolen base. His 32nd of the year.
Another disadvantage to a head-first slide. The worst advantage, or the worst thing about it, is that you may injure yourself. The second worst is that you can't pick the ball up. Your head's on the ground. If you use that stand-up slide, Langford would be on third base, but he may have injured himself in the process. We have talked about head-first slides a lot. Looked like he skidded in on his knees, and now he can't pick the ball up, and Lean's not going to help him out. So Van Slyke recovering in a hurry to hold Langford to second base. I do not like that head-first slide, and we talked about it before, Sean, about minor leaguers. They see the big leaguers doing it, and that cut out on an artificial surface. They think it's fashionable, but as far as career longevity is concerned, I don't think it's a good thing.
The 1-0 to Galarraga. Pulled foul past Bucky down to the third base coach's box. The Pirates lead 2-1. Galarraga trying to improve on those numbers. He'll be followed by Todd Zeile. We are told that Mike LaValliere had to leave the game because of an injured right knee.
Could have happened on his steal attempt of second base. Thrown out by Tom Pagnozzi, and that attempted steal ended the Pirates' second inning.
We're in the top of the fourth. Big swing and a miss by Galarraga. 1-2. That's Geronimo Pena, who's on the disabled list for St. Louis. I think he realizes that he has something on his hat.
Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? What about a hat? I'm not too sure he knows it's there.
We are told that Rex Hudler got that gum on Geronimo's hat when he wasn't paying attention. It isn't as light a moment in the Cardinals dugout now as they watch Galarraga strike out for the second out of the inning. Back-to-back strikeouts for Doug Draybeck. No surprise that it would be Hudler. Looked like they were trying to add to the collection on the hat of Pena. Fastball for strike one to Todd Zeile, who was out on a pop-up to the second baseman Lean, his first time up. Geronimo Pena, by the way, on the DL with an injured right shoulder, and Joe Torre says he is very close to beginning a rehab assignment in the minor leagues. Langford takes off toward third. Zeile bounced it foul past third.
Whenever you try to steal third with 2 outs, then you have to be more sure than in any other situation. Todd Zeile's hit the ball well of late. He had 3 home runs the first 10 days of the season, only 2 since then, but he has been picking up the runners in scoring position. One of 4 players to play over 100 games at third base and at the catcher's position. The 3 others, Johnny Bench, Joe Torre, and Duke Farrell.
Draybeck strikes out the side following the leadoff single by Langford. After 3.5 in Pittsburgh, the Pirates lead 2-1. Don Don Slott up for the first time in this afternoon's ball game. And Omar Olivares starts him with a strike. It has been pretty well a strict platoon behind the plate for Jim Leland. As we mentioned, Slott started last night against the right-hander who handled the knuckleball of Wakefield. He's out on the fly ball to Langford in center. One down. Jim Leland was very quick to praise Don Slott for his work in handling that knuckleball last night. You know from personal experience, it's not easy.
Yeah, I certainly do. I was initially introduced to knuckleball with a regular-sized mitt. Bob Tiefenauer back in the early 60s. My first experience with the oversized mitt with Barney Schultz in '64. Barney, one of the guys who came in and saved the year for the Cardinals in 1964. The Cardinals coming from behind to overtake the Mets. 11.5 games out at one time on August 23rd. And as many as 8.5 games out in September. Large success, or in part, a great deal of success of that team that year due to Barney Schultz, a knuckleballer.
And the Cardinals have a rich history of comebacks within Major League Baseball seasons. They've won 15 pennants or division titles. And in 7 of those 15 title-winning seasons, the Cardinals have trailed by more than 7 games at some point during the campaign. Most recently in 1985. So at 6.5 out on August 1st, they are very much in the race in the National League East. Lean with a little lob down the right field line. Jose charging hard. He got it. Great catch by Felix Jose for the second out of the inning.
Fine play by Jose, the right fielder, playing Lean to shallow and now making that sliding catch. The reason that outfielders slide in making a catch like that, because otherwise you have to bend from the waist, and Jose has that muscular back, and making the sliding catch much easier in that situation.
Graybeck chopped one foul. 2 down in the Pittsburgh fourth. Graybeck batting with his club on top 2-1. Doug struck out swinging in the second. And he's on the brink of another at 0-2. Olivares trying to work his first perfect inning, and he does. He strikes out Graybeck on 3 pitches. After 4, 2-1 Pittsburgh.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball. This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
The St. Louis Cardinals took the lead in the top of the first. Bernard Gilkey doubled to start the ball game, was singled in by Ray Langford. The Pirates tied it in their half of the first. Alex Cole a bunt single. Van Slyke and Bonds walked, and then Merced with a sacrifice fly. Merced also drove in the go-ahead run. 3 straight singles with 2 outs in the third for Pittsburgh. Van Slyke, Bonds, and Merced to give them a 2-1 lead. That is the margin. Doug Drabek is working with in the fifth as he faces the bottom third of the order. Luis Alicea had an infield hit his first time up. Then Tom Pagnozzi and the pitcher Omar Olivares. Drabek struck out the side last inning. He has 5 Ks in all today. In shallow center, it's Andy Van Slyke, 1 out. Well, the highlight of the day for me to this point, upon entering the ballpark today, was being handed this handsome photo, baseball card of who is that guy?
If that's your highlight, you've had a bad day. You're in trouble.
Those 90210 sideburns on Tim McCarver, ahead of his time. That's from 1974. I think the thing that I was most impressed with, Tim, is I learned from this card that you collect matchbooks. I did not know that prior to today. Jeff King throws out Pagnozzi. Perhaps one of the ensuing weeks you'll bring your matchbook collection.
Well, I'll tell you, every player signs with Topps Bubblegum, you get about $5 and a set of golf clubs or something like that. So they asked me what my hobbies were back in 1959. I had no hobbies. but my brother sold matchbooks, so I said, well, I collect matchbooks. That's how that got on there. 33 years later, I still collect matchbooks, and I've never collected them in my life, but it's still on there.
All these years, people who have this card think that you have some extensive matchbook collection at home.
That's right, and you would be surprised at the matchbooks I receive from certain people.
Omar Olivares, the batter. The pitcher hitting with 2 outs and the bases empty. 1-1 the count. 2-1 in favor of Pittsburgh in the top of the 5th. Olivares has a home run this year. That came when he missed a bunt sign. Joe Torre wanted him to slug bunt against Cincinnati on July 16th. Instead, he had a home run off Tim Belcher. And now he has a base hit. His 12th hit of the year. He came in batting .262, and that'll go up a bit with his 1 for 2 this afternoon. That ends Drabek's string. He had retired 5 in a row. And it's the 5th hit of the ball game for St. Louis. Top of the order for the 3rd time, Bernard Gilkey started the ball game by doubling. On the first pitch Drabek threw, he scored the Cardinal run. He bounced the 3rd and the 3rd. That's chopped down to 3rd. King just did get it to 2nd, ahead of Olivares, who runs well. Halfway through the ball game, it is 2-1 in favor of Pittsburgh.
One of your highlights.
That's right. More of 90210 in a moment. It's a great day to enjoy a ball game in Pittsburgh. And the home fans happy. The Pirates lead 2-1. And then man might be happier after a trip to the concession stand. Assuming that's where he's going. Alex Cole out on the ground ball to 2nd on the first pitch of the 5th. During the bottom of the 5th, we'll take you around the horn. And this week, we pay tribute to managers who are doing an outstanding job in 1992. And at the top of that list is Felipe Alou of the Expos. The Expos were 17-20 when Felipe took over from Tom Reynolds. The batter is Jay Bell. He's 0 for 1 officially. Sacrificed his first time up and bounced to short in the 3rd.
In some respects, there's not as much pressure on an interim manager as there is on a guy who starts the season.
Felipe's still without a contract for next year, but most of the folks up in Montreal are saying that's just a formality. 2 down and a couple of bouncers to Alisea. Over in the American League, good to see Buck Showalter rewarded for his fine work this year with the Yankees. He signed a 3-year contract extension with the Yankees, and that ends the rumors that had him going to one of the expansion teams. Be interesting to see if he serves out the end of that contract with the boss coming back.
The last time a Yankee manager has served 3 or more years, Ralph Houck, back in 1967. He managed the Yankees until 1973.
Andy Van Slyke, the batter. Andy has walked. He singled and scored the go-ahead run in the 3rd. 2-1 Pittsburgh, bottom of the 5th, 2 outs and the base is empty. Another American League manager doing a terrific job is the Brewers' Phil Garner, who brought a National League style of play with him over to Milwaukee. And they are in contention in the AL East, just 6 games back and in 3rd place.
What is the National League style? Well, a more wide open form of offense. The Brewers leading the majors in stolen bases.
With 140. No other team in the American League has even 100. I think that only one other team has 100. That's Chicago with 107. And Slyke taking all the way on the 3-0 pitch. It's 3-1. And he facing Omar Olivares, who has retired 6 in a row. I think if I had to vote for the manager of the year in the American League, I would vote for this man, Tony La Russa. With all the injuries, he's had to use 11 different outfielders in addition to his regular trio of Canseco, Henderson, and Henderson this year. And to have them right there, only a half game behind Minnesota and in first place for a couple of days this week, is no small feat. That's very high and shallow right. Alicea, already with 2 assists in the inning, has the putout. 1, 2, 3 go the Bucks in the 5th. And we'll return to Three Rivers Stadium after this message and a word from your local station. Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver in Pittsburgh, where the Pirates lead 2-1 after 5. Batters 2, 3, and 4 coming up in the 6th for the Cardinals. Ozzie Smith is sacrificed and fly to left. Facing Doug Drabek. That's slapped down to third to Jeff King. 1 out. Drabek pitching well, and he has at least one friend and fan in the opposing dugout this afternoon.
Well, he really does. Bob Tewksbury. They were formerly roommates with the New York Yankees back in 1984. They were on a coast trip. They went to Knott's Berry Farm together. And then in 1986, they both took spring training with the Yankees. And Bob Tewksbury was picked over Doug Drabek. Drabek was sent out to Columbus, the AAA affiliate. And Tewksbury was named as the number 5 starter with the Yanks. What did Bob tell us before the game? About the money, he said all Doug Drabek does now is make over $4 million, and since that time I've had 2 arm operations.
Tewksbury said, I made it to the big leagues right after spring training. Drabek didn't come up until the middle of the season, but look at us now. He's making $4 million. Tewksbury was self-deprecating, but Cardinal fans and baseball fans well know the all-star season that he's having, leading the league in earned run average at 1.97. Tewksbury is still only walked 14 batters all year in 155 2/3 innings.
He is the Dennis Eckersley of starting pitchers as far as walks are concerned.
And as nice a person as there is in this game. Ray Langford with a swing and a miss. 1-2 the count. Langford a perfect 2 for 2 today with a pair of singles. He has driven in the only Cardinal run. He stole a base after singling in the 4th. 1 out, bases empty, top of the 6th. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Jeff King. 2 down. Imagine the kind of pitching staff the Yankees would have if they had back everybody they once had, including Drabek and Tewksbury. Felix Jose has been called out on strikes twice. Drabek hasn't been worrying about his contract situation during the year. He says, I leave that completely up to my agents, the Hendricks brothers out of Houston, which is Doug's hometown. That is to left. Bonds on the run, makes the catch. You certainly get the feeling, talking to Doug Drabek, all things being equal, he would like to come back to Pittsburgh next year. On to the bottom of the 6th. Still 2-1 Pirates. A pitcher's duel this afternoon in Pittsburgh. The Pirates batting in the 6th with a 2-1 lead. Middle third of the order against Omar Olivares. Barry Bonds takes strike 1 all the way. Barry walked on the 1st. He singled to center in the 3rd. Get his average back over the 300 mark. He's at 301 at the moment. They're set on deck, and then Jeff King against Olivares, who has set down 7 in a row since yielding the 3 straight singles with 2 outs in the 3rd that resulted in the go-ahead run for Pittsburgh. Fastball high and tight. While Drabek, it seems, would prefer to come back to Pittsburgh, it's highly unlikely that Barry Bonds will be back here in Pittsburgh next year. He rips that into the right field corner. Jose cut it off. Bonds trying for 2, and he's in with a double.
Bonds leads the major leagues in slugging percentage. It is over 600. His 2nd hit of the day. He's been on base 3 times and may be the best player in the game today.
That is extra base hit number 46 of the year for Barry Bonds, and that leads the National League, one more than Gary Sheffield of San Diego. It is the first extra base hit for the Pirates. They have 6 hits in all. Orlando Merced has already driven in each of the first 2 runs. He's bidding for another. That falls in right center. Bonds being waved in. Langford with the throw to the plate. It gets past Pagnozzi, who misjudged it, and the run scores. The throw was a beauty in the air on the fly to home plate, but Pagnozzi missed it. And Merced has driven in all 3 Pittsburgh runs.
Well, the throw was a strong throw, but on the strong throw, Langford misses the cutoff man. Pagnozzi had decided they didn't have a play on Bonds. He went out front, and then by the time he recovered to come back, Bonds scores. I think Pagnozzi gave up his position too early.
They had a play.
That's right. He went out. He assumed that there was no play, and now by the time he drifts back, the ball's over his head, and Bonds scores with Merced going to second base.
They have not posted an error. It's a single and second on the throw, apparently, for Orlando Merced. That's a fair ball. So Jeff King fails to do his job. He couldn't get Merced to third with 1 out. He's still at second with 1 down now in the 6th.
Take a look one more time at the throw by Ray Langford. He does miss the cutoff man, but as Sean said, it's a strong throw, and it's on target. Pagnozzi had gone out in front of home plate. He gave up the position. Had he been right back in the line, right there, then he gets Barry Bonds. Or at least there is a collision, and there is a play on Bonds. It would have been a very difficult play, but a play nonetheless.
3-1 Pittsburgh. Merced at second with 1 out. And a count of 1-0 on the batter, Don Slott. He's up for the 2nd time since coming in for Mike LaValliere, who left in the top of the 4th with an injured right knee. Slott was out on the fly ball to center. It is only at bat this afternoon. Slott now 1 for his last 16. That's fouled off past first base coach Tommy Sam. The Cardinals jumped off to a 1-0 lead in the top of the 1st, where the Pirates scored single runs in the 1st, 3rd, and now here in the 6th, and they lead 3-1. Chopped to short. Again, Merced has to retreat to second as Ozzie Smith threw out Slott. 2 away in the Pirates' 6th.
I would imagine Joe Torre will be walking leaned. Leaned, even though he's an 8-hole hitter, is a very pesky hitter. Yeah, they're going to walk him to get to Draybeck. Lean is a contact batter. And even though the outfield plays him very shallow, he is a pretty good clutch hitter, driving in 26 runs, but he's around the 50 to 60 range, which is pretty good for an 8th place hitter.
So Draybeck will bat with men at first and second. This is only the 16th walk drawn by Jose Lean this season. He is a free swinger, and of the 16 walks, 9 of them have been intentional. They've worked around him to get to the pitcher. That's the 3rd walk issued by Olivares this afternoon, the first since the 1st inning, when he walked Van Slyke and Bonds consecutively.
And intentional walks, kind of like free parking in Monopoly, you know?
Draybeck is whipped twice today.
Really don't do anything. You know, you don't get any money, you don't get any property for it. You're just there.
But it's not a bad thing.
No, just takes up space. Not a good thing either.
For those of us who live in northeastern cities, sort of welcome the concept of free parking.
Expensive
That's right.
space up here, right?
Smith, the short way to Alisea to force lean and end the inning. The Pirates get one in strand two, and after 6, they lead 3-1 as Orlando Merced has knocked in all 3 Pittsburgh runs.
CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Toyota, reminding you to always buckle up. Do it for those who love you. Budweiser, the king of beers, nothing beats a Bud. And by Speed Stick, 110% protection.
Sean McDonough and Tim McCarver in Pittsburgh, and now it is time for our weekly feature, Sean and Tim's Music Corner. Last week you heard the music of Ruben Sierra, who had recorded an album. And this afternoon we feature the wife of the Cardinals' Rex Hudler, Jennifer Hudler, out with an album, Set It Free. Here's He Knew It Was You.
That I could have this kind of love, and I didn't think I'd find someone to want me like I was, but all of the time my father had planned.
It's nice, huh?
Terrific.
And he knew it was you. He knew it was you. He saw how the
Jennifer Hudler wrote 3 of the 10 songs on her album, Set It Free, including the song you just heard, He Knew It Was You. She wrote that for her husband, Rex. That was wonderful.
That's beautiful. Very nice. If we continue this, we will be giving new meaning to baseball records.
Galarraga out on the bounding ball down to Jeff King. 1 down in the 7th. He gave an 85 to Ruben Sierra's album last week. No offense to Ruben, I enjoyed Jennifer's a bit more.
You do? Well, you've got to slow dance. See, Rubens, you could dance fast to that. Little rumba.
Well, Rex
I don't know, I give that about an 82. I like to listen to it. It's mood music. I like it. I think it'd be a little tough to dance to.
Well, we don't know then if Jennifer comes back as our defending champion next week on Sean and Tim's Music Corner. We have a disagreement. How do we settle the ties?
Well,
What's a new concept?
How do you grade it?
I like Jennifer's a little more. So you gave Ruben an 85. I think that was right. I like, Rex describes this as an inspirational album, and I like that kind of music, and I'd give it a solid 91 or 92.
So that's 87 for an average, right? Dick Clark used to have those averages and 2 numbers. That was tough to figure out when you're in the 5th grade.
Still tough now for some of us. Todd Zeal out of play. You heard Rex during the starting lineups that he gave you mention Todd Zeal's wife, Julianne McNamara. He said she was more famous than Todd for her performance in gymnastics, her performances in gymnastics. Julianne working in Barcelona as a commentator now on the Triple Cast, which 2 or 3 of you have undoubtedly enjoyed in the last week or so. Bob McClure warming up in the Cardinal bullpen. Zeal strikes out. 2 down in the 7th. 6 strikeouts this afternoon for Doug Drabek, and he has retired 6 Cardinal hitters in a row. Luis Alisea 1 for 2, an infield single back in the 2nd. He was out on a fly ball to center. In the 5th. Fastball for a strike.
Boy, Drabek just does not give hitters anything on the fat part of the plate. Inside, outside. Like Davis and Blanchard.
Nice play. Merced to Drabek to end the inning. We'll send you to the 7th inning stretch with more from Jennifer Hudler. It's 3-1 Pirates. Merced saying hello to everybody in Puerto Rico. Watching this afternoon. We're at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. The homestanding Pirates looking for their third straight win. And in the midst of 13 consecutive games against the Cardinals and the Mets, lead 3-1 as the top of the order comes up in the Pirates' seventh. Alex Cole is 1 for 3, a bunt single and a run scored back in the first. They have to hurry. It doesn't matter. Smith couldn't snare it. Cole chopped it into the turf, and with his speed, Smith had to try to make a do-or-die play, and he couldn't come up with it. Alex Cole was 2 for 4. Now Jay Bell, who has already sacrificed once today. He had to look down at Rich Donnelly. I think the sacrifice is less likely here where they are already leading 3-1.
I think it's probably more likely to add on. Bell bunted in the first inning. I think he'll do it again here.
Zeal is in front of the bag at third. They pitch out, no sign of a bunt. Ball 1. Everything already ahead 3-1. And with Cole, a good base runner over at first, you already have the lead. Why not give him a chance to steal the base, perhaps, instead of giving up the out?
You want to put the Cardinals away. Really can't argue with that thinking. Leland doing it a bit backwards, though. I mean, if you bunt in the first inning, why wouldn't you bunt in the 7th inning? I think a lot of managers are intelligently getting away from predictable thinking. And that's why I think the crop of managers today in baseball may be the best crop of managers ever in the game. I think they have more things to deal with, more off-the-field problems, drugs, alcohol, more the things that are afflicting a society right now.
And if this is the best crop of managers, then I believe Jim Leland is the best of the best.
He's certainly one of the top 3. Tom Kelly with Minnesota.
A pop-up. Deal to the rail. And then he drifts back toward the field to make the play. 1 out in the 7th. Pittsburgh leading 3-1. And Alex Cole is still standing on first base.
Center fielder, Andy Van Slyke.
Who else is in your top 3? Tony La Russa?
Tony La Russa, absolutely.
Andy Van Slyke, the hitter. He's 1 for 2. He has singled and walked and also scored a run today.
I think it is odd that Andy Van Slyke may be the only major league player that I have ever heard of as Joe Torre comes to the mound to make a change. Andy Van Slyke has a lathe at home. And he slims down, shaves off the handles of different batters' bats. Those 2 on the left, Orlando Merced. And Orlando Merced has driven in all 3 runs in today's game, by the way, as Bob McClure will be coming into the game with Pittsburgh on top 3-1 here in the 7th inning.
This relief break is sponsored by Rolaids.
Fine job turned in by St. Louis starter Omar Olivares this afternoon. He allowed 3 earned runs in 6 1/3 innings. He is responsible for the base runner he leaves behind Alex Cole at first with 1 out. And the new St. Louis pitcher is veteran left-hander Bob McClure.
Bob McClure is the oldest player in the National League. There are 9 players in the American League 40 years or over. Bob 39 years old. And Joe Torre uses him specifically to try to get left-handers out. But these 2 left-handers this year among the best in the business against left-handed pitching.
This year, the operative expression when referring to Andy Van Slyke, 291 this year against lefties. He came into this season a career 219 batter against left-handers. Cole at first with 1 out of the 7th. 3-1 Pittsburgh. Moved by McClure, had Cole heading back to first as McClure delivered to home plate. 1 ball on Van Slyke. Cole has stolen 4 bases for Pittsburgh. He's been thrown out twice. Cole hasn't always been certain of the signs during his brief tenure with Pittsburgh, and as a result, he stepped off the bag and talked to Tommy Sands. Might a steal be less likely here, Tim, to leave that hole open on the right side of the infield for Van Slyke?
I think it'd be less likely combined with the move of McClure, one of the best in the league. Right there. See how he picks that right foot up, hesitates, makes the runner commit, and then goes to first base. Watch the hesitation with the right foot of Bob McClure. Right there. That can freeze a runner, and I think that as much as the hole on the right side should make this a non-running situation.
Crowd grows a bit restless. Alex Cole has had a problem in the past with pickoffs. Looks like it'd be even more of a problem with McClure in that move on the mound. The count. McClure worked in game 1 of the series on Thursday night and allowed 3 hits in his outing. One of those an RBI double by Andy Van Slyke. Popped up. In shallow center, Ozzie Smith gives way to Ray Lankford for the second out. We're in the 7th. The Pirates lead 3-1. Alex Cole, the runner at first.
Left fielder, Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds drives to the plate, working on a perfect afternoon. He walked in the first, singled in the third, doubled and scored the 3rd Pittsburgh run of the ball game in the 6th. Broke into professional baseball back in 1973. Barry Bonds was 9 years old when Bob McClure made his professional debut in 1973 at Billings. McClure has pitched in the big leagues for Kansas City, Milwaukee, Montreal, the Mets, the Angels, and St. Louis. And this is low and away, 2-0 on Barry Bonds.
Bob, 14-7 for the 1982 Milwaukee Brewers, the American League champions. He started a lot that year. He threw a lot harder, but has always had a real good curveball.
He's always had that real good pickoff move. Last year in a poll of managers conducted by Baseball Digest, he was voted the National League pitcher with the best pickoff move. The 2-1 is fouled at home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. With the pitching change, we check the Rolaids relief break standings. Dennis Eckersley still walking away in the American League. And it's still tight in the National League. Norm Charlton with a 6-point edge over the Cardinals, Lee Smith. Three and two now. Bonds 5 for 22 lifetime against McClure, but McClure has never struck him out. Barry's only walked once against him. Cole will be off with the 3-2 pitch. Galarraga has moved behind him. And that's ball 4. Bonds walked for the second time, and on each occasion today, he's looked a little bit disgusted after drawing the walk.
particularly so this time because Orlando Merced, only a 143 batter, is a right-hander. And that's why Joe Torre's leaving the left-hander, Bob McClure, in to pitch to Merced.
Orlando's had a big day from the left side of the plate against the starter Olivares. Joe Torre has watched him knock in all 3 Pirate runs. 3-1 Pittsburgh in the 7th. And 1 strike on Merced, who is just 8 for 56 this season from the right side of the plate with that 143 average. Breaking ball missed. The ball and a strike. Not only ripping Cardinal pitching today, but also ripping his own pants. Strike 2.
That's what you like when you're in your 4th at bat and you have a stain on your right knee and a tear on the left knee of your pants. It means you've been on base. And he has 3 times. Make that 2 times with a sacrifice fly.
1-2 pitch is popped up. Galarraga waves off Alicea and makes the catch. The Pirates strand 2 more. They've now left 8 runners on base. And we go to the 8th with Pittsburgh still on top, 3-1. Cardinals haven't scored since the 1st inning, and Doug Drabek heads to the 8th, having retired the last 7 Cardinal hitters in a row. He's facing Tom Pagnozzi. 1 ball to count. Been an economy of effort for Drabek since the 1st inning when he labored and threw 20 pitches. Hasn't thrown more than 13 in 1 inning since then. Pagnozzi leads off. The pitcher is due next, and Milt Thompson has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for Bob McClure. And then Bernard Gilkey. There's Thompson waiting in the on-deck circle. 2-1 on the leadoff hitter, Pagnozzi. He's 0 for 2 today. Tom, an all-star this year for the first time in his career. Big swing and a little looping pop-up handled by Jay Bell for the first out of the 8th. Following baseball on CBS Sports, it's live 3rd-round coverage of the Cannon Greater Hartford Open from Cromwell, Connecticut. Gil Morgan was the leader at the midway point, and he's still leading early in the 3rd round by 1 shot over Roger Maltby, who's played well the last couple of weeks. He contended last week in Massachusetts. At age 41, he's in contention again at the Greater Hartford Open, which comes your way next here on CBS Sports. Milt Thompson batting for the pitcher McClure. Milt and Gerald Perry, the most frequently called upon pinch hitters of Joe Torre, and Milt's been the most successful off the bench, 9 for 32, including a pinch hit home run. The 0-1, 0-2. Reason for optimism for Cardinal fans as Thompson's track record against Drabek. Tough play. Bell rights himself. Didn't get it there in time. Bell did all he could, but Thompson runs well, and it's an infield hit.
High chopper, and because of that, Bell rushes his throw, a strong throw, but Thompson with an infield hit. When a ball takes 2 hops and a guy can run like Thompson, and they take the high chops on the artificial surface, usually it spells hit, and Bell did all he could, but couldn't get the fleet Thompson.
6 hits now for St. Louis. Drabek had retired 8 in a row before the infield hit by Thompson. Bernard Gilkey was the only extra base hit for the Cardinals today. A double on the first pitch of the ball game, and he scored the only St. Louis run to this point. He has bounced third twice since then. Thompson on the run. Now he heads back to first. That was more than a bluff. He went past the 1/3 mark of the way from first to second. I think he had trouble getting started in the dirt and realized he was going to be a dead duck if he continued.
You really take a chance right here. I think that right foot was sputtering. It was more than a bluff, not quite a steal. And Thompson scampering back to first base, but I do believe it. I think you're right, Sean. I think it was, he just didn't have the right start and a good jump. It's a bad time to steal anyway. You got to really be sure. It's the 8th inning. You're 2 runs down. You're a pinch hitter, so you're a fresh runner. You're not as loose as you would normally be.
Not a very big lead for Thompson. Gilkey chopped it foul. A ball and a strike. Action for the first time today in the Pittsburgh bullpen. The right-hander is Bob Walk, and the lefty Denny Nagel.
Bob Walk is not out of the rotation, by the way. The Pirates have an off day, and Jim Leland said instead of throwing in between, if we need him today, he'll be our right-handed either long or short reliever.
The 1-1 pitch popped up. Lean hollers Reset off the ball and makes the play. 2 down at the top of the 8th. The Pirates lead 3-1.
Shortstop Ozzie Smith.
Exciting game, but that young fan is not exactly consumed with the action.
It looked like Andy Van Slyke went a little too far with his lathe.
Ozzie Smith, 0 for 2 with a sacrifice today. Sacrificed in the first inning to set up the Cardinal run. And that base running mistake by Langford back in the first, when he rounded first after the base hit, they threw behind him and gunned him down. Now he has a big bat, too. Maybe depending on the pitcher. He goes up there with a little bat against the lefties and a big bat against the righties. Langford being picked off the bases cost them an out in the first inning, and they wound up getting just that 1 run. That continues to loom as the biggest play in the ballgame. Smith to keep this inning alive. Langford would bat next. Thompson runs again. Not a very good jump, but he's safe because the throw was a little bit to the first base side of the bag. And Thompson has stolen his 14th of the year.
See Thompson using the edge of the rug off of which to push before he steals. And the breaking ball, he chose the right pitch on which to run. You run on the breaking balls because it's thrower and a lot tougher for a catcher to, it's slower and a lot tougher for a catcher to throw.
The 0-1 to Ozzie. Up and away. 2-0. You wouldn't expect Drabek to be tired. I showed you the low pitch count at the start of this inning. Doug is used to going deep into the ball game. This is the 9th time in his last 10 starts that he has pitched into the 8th inning. He has pitched into the 6th inning in every one of his 23 starts this year. Really had a terrific year, and as we mentioned, the 1-loss record doesn't show it at 8-8. Large part because he hasn't always been well supported by his mates. Last time out, for example, against the Cubs on Monday at Wrigley Field, he lost 3-2 to Greg Maddux.
He has always been the type of pitcher who has had a better second half than the first half. For his career, he's under 500 in the first half. And his record after the All-Star game, 54-27. So he's won 2 of every 3 starts after the All-Star game over his career. Real second-half pitcher.
2 games under, for those curious about the numbers, before the All-Star break for his career. 38 and 40. Lifetime. Ozzie chops it to Lean, who throws him out. Cardinals have only stranded 4 base runners. Doug Drabek limited the Cardinals to 1 run on 6 hits as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
You can tell Doug Drabek still with his game face, and between innings, Ray Miller coming over and asking Doug how he felt. Fine. That's a competitor's fine, and he has been fine this afternoon, too.
Drabek has gone all the way for Pittsburgh. The Cardinals now have their 3rd pitcher of the afternoon on the mound. He is rookie right-hander Mike Perez. Working to Jeff King. 1 strike on King. Perez 6-2 in 49 games in relief this season. He leads Major League rookies in appearances. That one is deep to left. Back to the wall. Milt Thompson. It's a home run. Perez greeted rudely by Jeff King, who belted his 9th home run of the season, and it's 4-1 Pittsburgh.
And that is so unlike Mike Perez, only his 2nd home run yielded this year. But he hangs the breaking ball. There's the strike on the first pitch. And then he comes back and hangs the breaking ball. And Jeff King with his 9th home run of the year.
Perez working now to Don Slott. Nice play by Perez on the comebacker. 1 out of the 8th. Slott now 0 for 3.
3rd time's a charm. Here's the breaking ball, but not for long.
You have to think the trade of Buechele has really helped King relax. He showed faith that he could do the job. And he's hit 3 home runs since coming back from AAA Buffalo on July 15th. Leaned, pulled it down to 3rd. Zeal threw him out. 0 for 3 now is Jose Lean.
Not only that, but Jim Leland saying that with Zane Smith on the disabled list, they had to have an accomplished pitcher. They got that in Danny Jackson. And plus young Kevin Young, who is batting .295 with Buffalo now, 7 home runs, is the heir apparent to that 3rd base job. He is a fine young player. So they had to open it up.
Drabek to right, and it falls in. So Drabek continues to have quite a day for himself. And he's now had at least 1 hit in each of the last 3 games he has started. He's 1 for 4 this afternoon. Jim Leland told us yesterday he thinks Young is very close to being ready to play in the major leagues. They don't want to rush him along. He is at AAA Buffalo. Jim Leland says if people in the front office and the firing people deem Young to be ready, he would have no hesitation in having him play in the pennant race. He said some of the other teams, most notably Montreal in the race in the National League East, have been calling up players and using them in recent days. Alex Cole already 2 for 4 today, batting with 2 outs and Drabek at first. 1 run in on the King homer here in the 8th, and it's 4-1 Pittsburgh.
And a lot depends on the continued good performance of Jeff King. If he continues to hit like he has hit over the last 12 games through the end of September, then they'll probably keep him there and save Young, who will, one would assume, would be protected on that draft by the expansion teams. And I think a lot of major league teams have to worry about that, as well as the pennant races that are going on right now.
Cole strikes out to end the inning. Pirates add an insurance run on the home run by Jeff King. And we go to the 9th With Langford, Jose, and Galarraga due up for St. Louis, they trail by 3. Sean McDonough with Tim McCarver in Pittsburgh, where the Pirates are trying to make it 3 in a row in this series over St. Louis, and they lead by 3 as we head to the 9th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Doug Drabek trying to pitch his 6th complete game of the year. Facing the meat of the Cardinal order in the 9th. Ray Langford leads off. 1-0 the count. Langford 2 for 3 with singles in each of his first 2 at-bats. Felix Jose and Andres Galarraga to follow. Close pitch called the ball. 2-0. Yankees in Toronto now tied at 1 in the bottom of the 8th at Skydome. Two balls and a strike on Langford. Baltimore has taken the lead over Boston, and Kansas City leads Oakland by 3 in the 6th. 2-2. Cleveland by 3 over Detroit in the 5th inning. On the shores of Lake Erie. That's out of play. Still level at 2-2 on Langford. A bit high with the fastball. And Langford, the leadoff hitter of the 9th, with his team down by 3, has worked the count full.
And it's a good hitting position for Langford. He'll probably get the fastball. 3-run lead for Drabek.
Strike 3 on the outside corner. That is 7 strikeouts for Doug Drabek.
And he got the fastball. The problem was it was on the outside lane. Watch Drabek hit Slott's glove right there.
Langford gave home plate umpire Jerry Crawford a brief look, but when you pitched as Drabek has, you expect to get those calls in the 9th inning if you're still out there hurling. Toronto came up with 2 more in the bottom of the 8th, and they've now gone to the 9th at Skydome with the first-place Blue Jays leading the Yankees by 2. 1 out here in the 9th. Jose with a routine ground ball to short, and Jay Bell made it up. So the Cardinals are down to their final out. And Doug Drabek is on the verge of his 6th complete game. That is 9th win of the year. Terry Mulholland pitched his 8th complete game of the season for Philadelphia last night, and he leads the National League in that category. Andres Galarraga is 0 for 3. Swing and a miss at the high fastball, and most of those in attendance here at Three Rivers are on their feet in anticipation of the final out. And the complete game gem of Doug Drabek. Oof. Breaking ball over his head. A ball and a strike. Chopped slowly down to third. King got him. Doug Drabek needed just 104 pitches to go the 9 innings, work his 6th complete game of the season, and earn his 9th win of the year. And the Pirates have taken the first 3 games of this 4-game series. The final score here, Pittsburgh 4 and St. Louis 1. Now let's send you to Toronto. Check in on the Yankees and Blue Jays with Dick Stockton and Jim Cott.